Who is with Vinny Fiorenza? There's a lot he doesn't know. There's a lot he wants to know. This is a podcast where he tries to learn from people who know things he doesn't. He'll be focusing on people from the worlds of business, entertainment, and the arts. His guests are people he finds fascinating and that he believes will bring value to others. Join him on the journey on finding out who is.
I stood next to Matt Kemp and he nudged me and he goes, man, you guys are the reason I play baseball. Squintz's grandpa came in and actually taught us how to play baseball.
Oh, so you didn't really know how to play beforehand?
No, I was horrible at baseball.
No way.
And I got in a 60-mile-an-hour head-on collision. Lost so much blood that I died. No, that's the death chair, you know. A lot of the kids that sat in that chair got kicked off the show.
Well, ready for action. I hope you brought your mitts. No, I'm kidding. What's going on, guys?
I like that.
You like that?
Hope you brought your mitts, everybody.
We got our mitts. We're here with Marty York, someone I actually idolized as a kid. Happy to be here with him. So, Marty, let's hear it. Where are you from?
How you doing, man? I'm talking like you now. Hey, it's me.
That's contagious.
I'm from Northern California originally, and moved out to L.A. when I was about 10 to get into the industry.
So I'm guessing that means your family had a big part in being a part of the industry life. Yeah,
you know, I did theater for about, in Northern California for about 5 years.
Nice.
So when I was about 5 to 10 years old, I did local theater, and around 10 years old, my parents separated, and my mom said, the lady that ran the theater company I was with said, you need to take him to Hollywood, to see if he can get into like some bigger stuff. And my mom said, all right. So we basically moved out here with the clothes on our back out to L.A. and lived out in Woodland Hills originally was the first place that I lived.
That's the first place I went to.
Oh, really?
That's crazy.
The first place everybody goes. It was hard at first, man, because we were like renting rooms at other people's homes and, it was a tough beginning. And my mom's sister ran a big extras casting agency.
I'll get out of here. Wow.
So we went over there, met with her and said, hey, can you get us like as an extra, one of the background people in a movie or something? And she goes, oh, yeah, actually can get you in the movie Delirious with John Candy.
I remember you mentioned that. Yeah. Tell me about that. I'm so curious. John Candy, me and my dad used to watch all the John Candy movies all the time. How was that experience?
Yeah, man, like, in the 1990s, like the very early 90s, he was like huge.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, yeah, let's do it. So my mom was actually in the movie with me, and we were in the background, and they said cut during one of the scenes, and I mimicked John Candy's lines during one of the scenes. And John Candy overheard me, and he walked over, and he was like, hey, kid, that's pretty good. And he had a
awesome.
He took out a big piece of toilet paper out of his pocket, and he signed his autograph on it. And I took a picture with him, and he goes, you have an agent? And I go, no, and he goes, well, let me refer you to an agency.
Get out of here. Holy crap.
Yeah. So he goes, let me refer you to an agency. So like he made a call to his agent, and I, that next day I had an audition with, the agent that was representing him, and went over there. And they wanted me
John Candy. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Holy crap.
And I went over there and they wanted me to read a monologue and to audition for the agency, and I read it, and they were like, oh, that's great. And they said, hey, we have an audition for you today for a Colgate toothpaste commercial. And I was like, okay, My mom was like, yeah, sure. So like my mom took me to the audition, and it was the first time actually auditioning for like a Hollywood role, or in something. And so I went in the room, and there was like a ton of other kids in there, and I went in there, and like there was like, lights and directors and producers and everything. And they brought in this little girl, and they said, we want you to dance with this little girl. Oh. And I was just like, I was so scared I hid behind the chair.
Oh, my God.
And I was 10 years old. And they go, come on. They coaxed me out. And I didn't know how to dance.
For Colgate.
Didn't know how to dance or anything. So I ended up dancing with this little girl. And then literally they were like, that's great.
Yeah.
And they're like, thanks a lot. And they called my mom the next day and said I got the part. So that was my first thing I ever auditioned for. I got was a Colgate toothpaste commercial. They called me back to play an Italian kid in a ragu spaghetti sauce commercial. And like literally, I didn't have to audition or anything. And then my mom goes, "Oh, this shit's easy, you know. Like we can we cuss on the show?"
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's promoted. Go for it.
Promoted to cuss on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I did the ragu spaghetti sauce commercial. I played bocce ball.
It's great. Like the little kid played bocce.
Learned how to play bocce ball that day, and then for a year I didn't do anything. And then it was like
as in work, you mean? Like
as
for
in
a
work,
year.
yeah, acting and stuff. And I went to like this. I went to this private school. It was like a Catholic school.
Tell us more. I'm pretty curious. Like, how would your friends describe you? Like, what were you during that time? What were you like?
I was very scared of like this whole new life because I had come from living with my dad and my sisters, and I was kind of separated from that whole life and left with. Came out to LA by myself with my mom.
Yeah.
And my sisters lived with my grandma, and I had. It was tough. You know, I went to this Catholic school. I was bullied. I was the smallest kid in school. Had the most ridiculous like mullet haircut you can imagine because I was from Northern California. So like everybody had mullets out there back in the early 90s.
It's wild to look at you now to think there was a point in time you might have been bullied.
Oh yeah,
wow, yeah.
It was crazy, man. It was a very tough beginning coming out here.
Yeah.
And for a year I didn't work on anything, and then I auditioned for Sandlot about a year later, and it was I originally didn't get the part of Yeah.
Oh, no way! Tell us more.
Yeah, I got the part of Bertram.
Got it. Cool.
Another character in the film.
Yeah.
And there was the whole treehouse scene was all different than when Squints tells the story of his great grandpa or whatever that.
Yeah, way back.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, forever. That whole thing was like that was all written in when later on. But the whole scene was different, and Bertram had a lot of lines, and he talks about the beast sleeping under the lean-to, and that was kind of like my lines for the movie. And I auditioned twice, and I got the part of Bertram, and they cast all of us. They cast all the guys and everything, and they took us all to the baseball field. Yaya actually hadn't been cast yet. I think Yaya and Ham had not been cast yet.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so we actually auditioned in LA at the Sportsman's Lodge. I don't know if you've ever been out there.
No, I haven't. Not yet.
Yeah.
So that's somewhere we got to go? Like, I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't look the same as it did back in the 90s, but back in the 90s, it smelled like wood, and there was like...
Oh, nice.
it was like a Sportsman's Lodge you would see in like a cabin up in like Idaho or something.
Oh, that's
cool. It was a really cool hotel. So they took all the guys to the baseball field. Ham hadn't been cast. Yaya hadn't been cast. They kind of lined us all up, and they go, you don't really fit the part of Bertram. So they said, and then I was like, that's it. Well,
yeah, that's the end of that.
I didn't know what the Sandlot was going to be. I didn't know anything about this movie. I was just like, oh, that's it. I'll just take it as a loss and whatever. I'll just move on to the next thing. And they said, we'd like you to audition for Yeah. It's a different part in the film.
Oh, so that was, for some reason, like I thought maybe like you guys all made up the name. It was the written character name.
Yeah.
Like I thought maybe you had like a thing where you always said Yeah in your own life, and then they're like let's call this kid Yeah.
The whole movie is really based upon the director's life. Because him and his brother lived in Pacoima in the 60s, and they were, they moved around a lot. And so they were bullied a lot when they moved around, because they were like the only white kids in the neighborhood in a lot of these places they went to. So they went to this one neighborhood, and basically the director and his brother saw these kids playing baseball on the street. He said, hey, can we play with you? And the kids said, well, we just hit our ball over that fence right there, and there's a dog over that fence. If you can get the ball back from the dog, you can play with us.
Oh, wow.
So his brother went over the fence to get the ball back, and he got bit in the leg by this big German shepherd named Hercules.
Wow, they kept a lot of that. That's amazing.
So, that's a true story. And so the premise of the movie, basically, the director for years had made these in his mind like these kids were bullies, which they were. So when he made The Sandlot, he became at peace with the bullying, these bullies. That these kids were actually all really bullies.
Well, that's like way deeper than I would ever thought.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. So like the kids were actually all bullies, that he made peace with them when he made them his friends. So technically his brother is Smalls, and these kids that are the bullies take him in,
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because Smalls doesn't have a brother in that one.
Going back to the whole Yeah story, because I forgot to mention how he passes Yeah. they said you needs to bring a ton of energy to play Yeah Yeah. So my mom bought me a big Hershey's bar at the local liquor store, and she said, eat that whole thing. So I ate this whole giant chocolate bar, one of the giant chocolate bars, and I just like was cracked out, you know, and I just walked in and I did Yeah Yeah had a ton of energy. So I did the lines and the rest is history. And 2 weeks later, I flew to Salt Lake City, Utah, where we filmed the movie, and hung out with the guys for the first time, like all together. And they said, hey, we want to see you guys play on the Sandlot field, throw the ball around and stuff like that. So we threw the ball around for a little bit, and they said, we need to train you guys a little bit. So we actually Squintz's grandpa, he came in and actually taught us how to play baseball because he was really good.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you didn't really know how to play beforehand?
No, I was horrible at baseball.
No way. Well, I was going to ask you what position you played, but you didn't even really play.
I didn't play.
They took actors that went out and taught people how to play. I guess baseball is kind of easy for the most part.
They took a bunch of actors didn't know how to play baseball. I mean, some of us briefly, a little bit knew how to play. Obviously, Mike Vitar, who played Benny, he had played and he was actually pretty good. The rest of us, not so much.
Wow.
So we trained for about 2 months before we shot the movie. And got really good. We got really good, and
you fooled me.
Yeah,
and everyone.
We got good, and we became this, the Sandlot guys. So
yeah, I mean, it's been going on. This is the 30th year, right? It's been 30 years since the movie came out. How do you feel?
I don't know. I feel old, man.
Oh, that's great.
No, I mean it's a blessing, because as an actor, you always want to do something that has longevity. You want to do something that stands the test of time. I never wanted to do like bit parts that were just, I would like do this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing. And you're never really remembered for something. I'd rather be like an Urkel, be remembered for one character than do a million characters and never be remembered for any of them.
Yeah.
So I think the cool thing about The Sandlot is like, just over the past 30 years is it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every single year. And the weird thing is it wasn't big for a while until the 20th anniversary happened in 2013.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So like, I did Sandlot and I did all these other TV shows like Boy Meets World and Wings and Sliders and Saved by the Bell and all these other guest starring roles on all these shows. And then when I was about 17 years old, I was actually about 20 miles north of this studio on Sierra Highway. And I got in a 60-mile-an-hour head-on collision. Oh, my God. Which basically shattered my legs. I died on scene. I actually had to be airlifted to Holy Cross Medical Center in...
when you say died on scene,
I died on scene. I flatlined. And I had a serious loss of blood.
Oh, my God.
I lost so much blood that I died. And they airlifted me to the hospital. They were able to revive me enough to get me to the hospital. And then I got blood transfusions actually, like from my parents, from my acting coach.
Oh my God!
People that donated blood to actually revive me. And that was kind of the end of my acting. At that point, I basically was out for like 4 or 5 days. I woke up and out of a coma.
Holy crap!
And
flatline wake up from coma. Yeah. Wow.
I woke up and my leg was hanging from a metal bar, and it was hanging in traction. It was holding my leg together because the bones didn't break; they shattered. Like literally, like wow. I had a Geo Metro convertible, right? That was my car.
Oh my God!
Like it's the shittiest car that you can imagine. And other car I hit I hit it like a Mustang, and which was like made of steel. And I basically the engine came through and just crushed my legs, and. There's fragments of my leg on the road that they had to find and piece together like a Tetris puzzle. So, yeah, like exploded through my leg. I have a gnarly scar too. I'll show it to you. I mean,
I don't get skeeved out. No.
Yeah. So anyway, like I woke up 4 days later and I had this crazy dream as I was in a coma that I had been kidnapped and I was in an RV and that was taken.
What the hell?
And then I woke up and my leg was hanging from a metal pole, and I thought these people had put a metal pole in my leg, so I was trying to pull the metal pole out of my leg. And the nurses ran in and they were like, "No, don't do that! Like that's holding your."
That's
leg
how
together.
You woke up. Wow.
That's how I woke up.
Oh my
and
goodness.
my parents were in the room. Nobody was in the room. And after that, it was a long rehabilitation process.
I'm sure that's life-changing.
Yeah.
How
And
long
the
did it take, give or take?
Just the rehab was like 3 years, 4 years, just to like get walking normally again. And,
Wow.
and like, at that time I told my mom, like, I'm done, because the accident happened because I was so burnt out, because my schedule was, I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get ready for school, drive to school. Almost every day I had an audition. So I would have to, back then it was fax. They didn't have email or anything like that. So I'd have to have my lines faxed to me. I would like basically be in school, like during English class, like looking at my lines, like trying to memorize them and focus on what was going on.
And this is at 17 years old.
This was like 16,
Oh my
16
God.
and 17.
Wow.
But all of 16 and all of 17, this was my life. And I would like get in my car and I would drive 60 miles one way, because I lived near Palmdale. And then I would have to drive all the way to LA.
Yeah.
Have my lines memorized, do the audition, drive back in rush hour traffic. So drive there in rush hour traffic, drive back in rush hour traffic, and then do my homework, and then go to bed. It all starts again the next day. So I fell asleep at the wheel, and that's how the accident happened.
Oh my God, that's a lot for anyone, and to be that young, to be putting that type of pressure both on yourself in any way is a lot, and then obviously the effects are wild.
Yeah. So
yeah.
After that, I told my mom, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I left the business. And at that point, my career was going like this.
Yeah.
I was on all these shows, like every show that I had watched as a kid, I was on like the next week. I was a huge fan of Saved by the Bell. I used to watch it when I came home from school. I was on the show like the next week. Boy Meets World, I was a big fan of that show. Did almost the whole first season. You
want to tell us about that? I would love to hear about Boys Meets World. How was that experience?
It was cool, man. It was, I had seen, there's 2 episodes so far of Boy Meets World that were out, and I just started watching it.
It was that early.
It was that early.
Wow.
And I would see Danielle at auditions all the time. Danielle
Topanga
ended up playing Topanga, but she wasn't even supposed to be a regular on the show. She was just supposed to be a day player like me. Actually, they were talking about me being a regular and her just being on one episode of the show. And I'd seen her on auditions all the time. Her and her mom had the exact same hairdo. That's like this giant curly mop on her.
That's funny.
So it was funny because like then I did Boy Meets World, the first episode I did, and Danielle was there, and I go, oh, hey, Danielle. And I give her a big hug, and because we'd known each other before from auditions. And then we shot the show, and she just killed it. Like just, I mean, she was supposed to be like a one-day love interest for Corey. And then
turned into a little bit more than that.
Yeah, she got the regular on the show. And then I was in what they call the death chair, which I didn't know it was called at that time. So I did one episode of that show. Then they brought me back. I did a second episode of that show. And the last episode I did of the show, I had a scene with Mr. Feeney where I dress up as Mr. Feeney for career day.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I screwed up one of the lines. And I had always thought in the back of my head, the reason they didn't bring me back was because I screwed that one line up.
No way.
Until I did the Pod Meets World podcast last year. And they said, no, that's the death chair. That's a lot of the kids that sat in that chair got kicked off the show. For whatever reason. It wasn't us. It was Michael Jacobs. It was the guy that ran, excuse me. It was a long, from 12 to like 17. I didn't stop.
Yeah.
And I was auditioning for like Free Willy and like some of the biggest movies. Like I was up against Elijah Wood for The Good Son.
Wow.
At one point,
I love that movie.
Head to head with Elijah Wood. And then I left the business. I left the business for 20 years.
You said with the 20th anniversary of the Sandlot, like something struck you. What happened during that time?
During the time that there was a long period of time when Sandlot wasn't really on the radar for me. It was kind of something I did in my past, as well as everything else I did when I was a child. And I had left the entertainment industry, and I was doing random things. Worked in a coffee shop. I was like, I did mortgages. I was a loan officer for like 10 or 15 years. And then the Sandlot came around in 2000. The 20th anniversary came around in
2013 or something.
Yeah, and they said, we'd like you to come back to the Sandlot and do this signing on the Sandlot. All the guys moved on to their own things, and we all did different things, and we all went back. Not all of us for the 20th anniversary. There were some guys missing, like Tom Gyree was missing, and some of the other guys were missing. Bertram wasn't there, but like I was there, and I don't know, the acting bug bit me again because it was the first time since the Sandlot that I'd like signed autographs or did anything like of that nature, you know, because I'd just been like beat down for it. Honestly, like that's the word, beat down, for so long in life. Just like, you know, you're like, you do a movie of that magnitude, then you're like working in a fucking coffee shop, you know, and you're like,
it's a gut shot.
Yeah. And at the time you're like, oh, this is fucked up, but it's like, I got to do what I got to do to make money, you know? And I don't fault anybody for that. I think anybody that works, period, I give them props, you know?
Of course. Yeah. It's a rough game.
It is.
Across the board.
But like that year when I did that, you know, and I went back to the Sandlot and I was signing autographs, and there was I think 1,000 people on the Sandlot that came to the actual field. And I was signing autographs for people, and I was like, I want to do this again.
Nice.
I think I could do this again. And I got an agent that year, and I booked 3 national commercials in 1 year.
Wow.
Literally. Did an Old Spice commercial, a Tecate commercial, and a 7-Up commercial with Chelsea Handler in 1 year. And I was like, okay, I could do this again.
Was that the Old Spice commercial you mentioned to me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hysterical.
It was fun, you know? It was like, it was at that point I realized I still had it. I was like, I still got it. I can still do this. I shot that with Isaiah Mustafa, the guy that sits on the horse, and he's like, I'm on a horse. And he was an amazing actor. And then since then I've been doing independent films and things like that. And every year that we do an anniversary, you know, this is obviously the 30th anniversary. And then 2018, we did the 25th anniversary, which was 1,000,000 times bigger than the 20th.
Yeah, let's hear all about that. I'm really interested. Yeah, let us know.
Basically, Fox still owns Sandlot. Now Disney owns us.
Mm-hmm.
Boo. No. I mean, I'm not the biggest Disney fan at this point. But Fox treated us like kings.
Okay.
They were like, we want to do a Sandlot show. We want to do an anniversary like they've never seen the likes of. So they put on the biggest anniversary that Fox Home Entertainment has ever done.
Wow.
So
it's deserved.
Yeah.
It's got that type of culture.
They said, we want you guys to tour every Major League Baseball stadium in the United States.
Wow.
And so we went to, it's like, the biggest one was Dodger Stadium. Because we were actually in the dugout with the players.
Wow. Yeah, I remember you telling me. Yeah. Tell us about the players where you're on the field and stuff.
Yeah, we were like down in the dugout, and Justin Turner's like, on the road, I'm Ham Porter every game.
That's awesome, man.
And they were like, yeah, you got big. And like, it was cool, man. And they were like, hey, go out on the field and we want you guys to take your original positions in the Dodger field before the game.
Cool.
So everybody thought the Dodgers were coming out, right? So they go, shortstop, yeah. And I came out.
So cool.
And they go, and then they call out each of us, and they're like, the Hambino was the catcher, and like the 60,000 people stood up. We sold out the whole stadium.
Wow.
And we got a standing ovation.
What a night.
That was the first stadium me and the guys did. No, actually Angels was the first stadium.
Okay.
That was the first stadium that we experienced anything like that.
Wow.
And when we got a standing ovation on the Dodger field, me and the guy, I hadn't seen some of these guys in 25 years. And I looked at the guys like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is insane, dude. And it just kept going and going and going. And then they released like Funko Pops, and they released like, they released our baseball card. Like Topps did a whole baseball card collection with us.
Were there any players you met that you were like, oh, wow, this is pretty awesome? Or any stories from players that you interacted with?
Yeah, when we were on the Dodger field, it was like when Matt Kemp was playing back in 2018.
Nice, yeah.
And I stood next to Matt Kemp, and he nudged me and he goes, man, you guys are the reason I play baseball. And we were like, what? And it was just surreal, man. It was like the whole thing was surreal.
So it is surreal. Even hanging out with you here, like I told you on the phone the other day, you're watching your movie is a big reason why I'm so into baseball and so into that culture. And it's just, producer agrees, it's amazing to have you here.
Thank you, man.
Of course, man.
This is the best podcast studio I think I've ever been to.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very.
I want a picture in this studio.
Yeah, we'll get some fun pictures. Yeah, he drove really far to get here. No, I'm kidding. He's in the neighborhood.
I'm right down the street.
Tell us about the Boys of Summer. You guys are doing like what's up with that? I see posting about that.
Yeah, so the Boys of Summer is basically like our NFT line. So we have an NFT line. So if you go to, I'm going to be posting. Excuse me, I'm going to be posting about it. We have a new NFT line coming out April 28th.
Oh, so
we had one for the 25th anniversary that sold out. We had 2,000 units and we sold all of them out.
Wow.
And for this line, we're also doing physical baseball cards, and the artwork is absolutely amazing. So if you go to Marty_York on my Instagram, go to my bio, you can see our new NFT line. April 28th is when it's going to launch.
Wow. How many they meant for that one?
We have 3,000 units on this one.
Oh, wow. Cool, man.
As well as physical baseball cards.
That's awesome. I got to support that.
So if you buy like an NFT pack,
yeah,
non-fungible tokens for those don't know who NFTs are, what NFTs are. I don't even know non-fungible token still is. I don't know.
They're baseball cards for the sake of this conversation.
Like baseball cards. Well, they're artwork. This is the way I was explaining.
Yeah.
They're artwork with like serial numbers, so they're like exclusive. But for this line, we're doing physical cards too.
Cool. That's fantastic. That's right up my alley. Baseball and NFT and art. Yeah. I threw a couple of art events in my past. Like maybe there's something that lines up there. You're back in the game. How do you feel about it now? Give us a little bit like what have you been up to? Like you working on anything specific? Yeah, give us a scoop. Yeah,
so I've been I just got a new agent after working with my other agent for 10 years. I have a new agent, new manager, so hopefully that leads to stuff. I'm doing a movie probably later on this year with Tara Reid called Do Justice.
Oh, nice. Huh?
And, I'm doing independent stuff and just touring with the guys for the 30th anniversary. Cool. We went, me, Squints, Smalls, and Repeat all went back to the Sandlot 2 weeks ago. We did Kingsbury Hall, which was a big theater in Utah. And
near the field.
Yeah, near the field.
Cool.
It was at University of Utah. And we were backstage watching the crowd's reaction. And the crowd, because it's filmed in Utah, people absolutely adore it.
Geek out.
And we were backstage and people were saying all the lines of the film as it was playing on the screen.
Yeah.
So like when the first time Pat says, "You're killing me, Smalls," you could see the audience get ready to say it, and they're like, "You're killing me," and the whole crowd yelled, and me and the guys kind of just like were like, "This shit's insane."
Yeah, it's nuts. It's rock stars. Like that's how a lot of us view you.
To me, it's just like it's being like an old band with like guys you've known your whole life. And
it's cool.
It's funny because now that I've been touring with these guys for like since 2018 now, 5-6 years, and all the things we've done together, I'm starting to remember how these guys were as kids. And they're the exact same guys. Like
that's awesome. Do you have any interesting stories from those tours? I guess he's got one.
Tom was probably going to kill me, but like we were in San Antonio, and we had to do the San Alamo Con. It was like we do a lot of Comic Cons.
Okay, yeah.
And so Pat got us all into the San Antonio versus Laker game. Cool. So we were going to do the halftime show during that halftime show, and Tom had drank a little too much. Tom who plays Smalls, and so we're like, we can't bring him to that. He's gonna, he drank a little too much. So me and the guys went to the game, and we were like on the Jumbotron, and we did the halftime show and everything.
That's great.
And there's a bunch of people in the Comic-Con, and we come back to the hotel, and Tom is like wasted, and he's like talking to Lou Ferrigno, and he's like, Lou, I gotta stop drinking, Lou. And Lou's like, get away from me. He's just like, get the hell away from me.
You won't like him when he's
That's the Incredible Hulk. You won't like him when he turns green. And that was cool. But it's like just fun stuff. We go out and we party and, we do stuff we couldn't do as kids.
you're drinking whiskey here with me. I heard that you're not crazy about whiskey. You have any funny stories about whiskey that you'd want to share?
Do the puke story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
No, yeah, I did. I don't really drink whiskey, but
I'll get him some more.
Oh shit, dude! Don't give me too much more. I don't. I don't want to recreate what happened.
No worries. Just light.
Yeah, I was in Houston with the guys, and in Houston they drink a lot of whiskey, and so we did a movie theater in Houston, and it was like a top of the line theater. They had like food and beverages and all that. I was sitting there. The lady goes, "Oh, hun, you drinking vodka? We drink whiskey out here, hun." And she brought me like some whiskey, and I started drinking the whiskey, and I was drinking vodka and whiskey, and I was mixing.
Oof, yeah, bad decisions.
Yeah, and I didn't know you're not supposed to mix it. And then I just woke up with the worst hangover of my life. Like literally, I was like numb. So yeah, it was like the ride in the Sandlot. That's basically the way my room looked.
I have this weird question about the ride in the Sandlot.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sure
weird that I've heard.
No, you've heard every question, every which way form. So not everyone was on the ride.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, like you were on the ride.
Wow.
Like I was okay. So it is a weird question. So I was like curious. Like I was always wondering. Like I want maybe people were scared to go on the ride, or like they weren't there that day. Like I don't know, but not everyone was on the ride. Like for sure. Like I don't know, you, Ham, the kid Bertram, Small. That might have been it.
I think
that's how much I watched the movie.
Yeah, I mean, if they put us all on the ride, that scene would have taken too long.
Okay, got it. So yeah, that's logical.
That's why. Yeah, when we filmed that scene, they had hoses going on the side of our mouth, and the hoses were connected to these automatic things that would shoot out it was pea soup mixed with barley and I don't know what the hell else was in there.
Chaw.
I don't know. There was no chaw. The chaw was actually beef jerky and licorice.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And when we chewed it, trust me, like it was disgusting.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting. I hate licorice.
It was actually I hate it. Black licorice. It was like horrible.
It's disgusting.
But when they pressed the button, the throw up would shoot out of the hoses. So they just they're like, open your mouth, and I'd be like, and then they just press the button and be like, and throw up and yeah, that scene still haunts me to this day. But that was like me drinking the whiskey. It was my room looked like that. Yeah.
One of the more recent things you've done was you were on the Eric Andre show as Paulie D. Like I'm from that world, I guess you could say. You kind of
shore world.
Yeah, I've spent some time down there. You could have fooled me, like you're from there. How'd you get this vibe? Like what influenced that?
Well, it's weird. It was like back then that show was big. I was never a fan of that show. Didn't like it at all. But I looked like those guys.
Yeah.
And I would book roles with them, and
that was hot then.
Yeah, it was like that show was hot, and I did the Old Spice commercial. I played one of those guys, and then I did the show with Pauly D, and then it was funny because like when we were on set, we after we shot, he goes like, what kind of acting stuff you done? I'm like, I'm in the Sandlot. He goes, dude, they used to call me Yeah when I was a kid.
I believe it, man.
Pauly D said that. And so he invited me to his birthday, and I went to his birthday in Vegas.
He had the residency at one of them, no?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like it wasn't a residency. It was just DJing. It was like it was a club called Rain.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And we were behind the stage with like him and some other people, his friends, and it was interesting.
Cool, fun.
Yeah, he'll hit me up occasionally and be like, "Yo, what's up, Marty? How you doing?" I'll be like, "What's up, man?"
That's funny, man. For your career currently, what would be a dream role for you? Like, what I don't know. What would you like to be in? What type of, I don't know, genre, role, whatever? I
mean, honestly, I'd like to be a superhero in something or a super villain. I think that'd be the coolest shit. I love the show The Boys. That's like one of my favorite shows, man.
Wow, yeah, you would fit in there very well, actually.
I would love to do anything.
They're all villains anyways. I'd
love to do anything on that show. I'd love to do anything on.
That's cool. That's actually that was a great answer though. I didn't know where I was going to go.
I like The Boys. I like Cobra Kai a lot.
Cool.
That's coming to an end though, so I can't. My dream of doing that show's over. And action stuff.
Cool. It's good to know.
That's kind of the way, like my physique. That's kind of why I got like this.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it came from after the car accident. I did a lot of rehab. And when I was doing the rehab, I learned how to eat. I learned how to work out. I learned how to lift weights and the techniques on how to do it. Like the guy that trained me taught me all this stuff. Nice. So as I was rehabbing my body to learn how to walk again and all this other stuff from my car accident, I was learning how to build muscle and do that. And I've been doing it now for 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously shows.
Yeah.
When we first saw each other out, we were at a bar, and I was telling him I was nervous to hang out with him because if I said the wrong thing, he might snap me like a stick. But
no, I'm very nice in person.
Yeah, I'm gonna run. Yeah, definitely. But I'm gonna do a little speed round type of thing.
Okay.
So, baseball. Do you have a favorite team?
Dodgers.
Dodgers, beautiful, easy. I found out you didn't play baseball as a kid, but if you think you would have played baseball, what position would have been?
I'll always be shortstop, man.
There you go. I love that. Favorite genre of music?
That's a hard one because I like everything. I like good music.
Nice.
So good music is my favorite genre.
I like that. Me too. I think we have a similar interest. Your movie is probably one of my favorite nostalgic movies. What about you? What might be one of your favorite nostalgic films?
Well, my favorite movie of all time is The Shawshank Redemption.
Love that. Great answer.
That's movie of my. That movie. Every time I watch it, I cry. Just an incredible film.
Red was too. Brooks was here. Red was too. That's a scene that gets me.
That when he does that speech about hope, man, I lose it.
Yeah,
I'm just oh shit, that's powerful.
There's a fun one. What's favorite gym day?
Every day, man.
See, that was the right answer. Yeah. I was going for a body part, but we'll go with every day.
Oh, a body part. Probably back day. I like back day.
Actually, that's weird. Me too.
Yeah, I like feeling those lats expand.
I like that too. I ain't got wings. I don't have wings like you, but maybe
you
one
jump
day.
Off a building, be able to fly.
Yeah, hopefully one day. Someone from history that you would love to have dinner with.
Oh wow, I never got that one before. Someone from history I'd love to have dinner with. Probably Jimi Hendrix.
Nice, sporting it. But yeah, I'm gonna close out with that one. Really grateful that you came out here. This was really fun. Yeah. One of my heroes. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, appreciate everything, man.
You got me to
Thanks
drink
a lot.
whiskey too.
There we
which is
go.
very odd.